when you take a look at what the former minister also said, that about sponsors, that they have names of sponsors of terrorism. Now, would you say that we have dealt with this appropriately, rather than just look at the fighters and also look at the financiers? Don't you think that if we up our game in bringing the financiers to justice, it will help us to win this war against terrorists?
Yes, definitely, and I must commend the Bola Tinubu Ahmed administration. It seems to be doing better, well, than the other, especially previous administration. Just last week, it reeled out a number of names of persons that are, sponsoring terrorism. And as you are probably aware, there is a sanctions committee, which is headed by the Attorney General of the Federation. So that committee reeled out several names. And one of the names that everybody would relate to is Simon Ekpa, the infamous one that is in Finland, who is currently in detention. Of course, even the Lakurawa group was also mentioned in that. So to that extent, we must commend the Bola Tinubu administration in its attempt to designate and to ensure that those who are sponsoring terrorism being addressed with legal instruments that are available to us. With regards to the other instruments, including identity, you've referred to the, making sure that everyone who has a SIM card is registered. Unfortunately, we've not done very well in that regard. Till date, if you go on the streets of most of our urban centers, you can buy SIM cards, and with minimum requirements, those who will sell it to you would, request for very little from you. Sometimes it's just the money that you pay. Obviously, they have gone and registered their names, and then they are able to now sell it to you.
Quite scary. Well, let's talk about what's happening in the Southeast. In the Southeast, with the unrest, the targeted attacks, and other threats, there's a belief that political solution that will ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu is the silver bullet to ending the conflict. Is this idea worth considering? All right, we'll come back to you. Well,
you're asking me that question.
Well, I will throw it back to you. Do you think, with what is happening in the Southeast and the calls to release, okay, and here he's back. Right. So, Mr. Adamu, I was asking you a question. I said in the Southeast, with the unrest, targeted attacks and the threats, there's a belief that the political solution that will ensure the release of Nnamdi Kanu is a silver bullet to ending this conflict. Is this idea worth considering?
So anyone who believes that there is a single solution to the challenge is just deceiving himself. There should be a multitude of solutions, and one of them is political, which is perhaps conversation around releasing or not of Nnamdi Kanu. But just relying on that alone, it's a joke. The same conditions that drive terrorism in northern part of the country also exist in the socio-economic conditions, issues around land governance, proliferation of small arms and light weapons, perception of marginalization.
Yeah. Yeah, but my thought actually is with what you just mentioned, the proliferation of light weapons. Yeah. We have laws, but every now and then you see people, non-state actors willing these things, and you seem to say, why is there not immediate action against these people?
There are supposed to be laws that are supposed to check.
We do have the laws.
I understand that a bill on proliferation of small arms and light weapons just passed in the National Assembly. I don't know if that has been assented to. That's also a way to check. You know, when he was speaking, he also spoke about weak governance and, the response of government. Implementation of these laws is also a key factor in, ensuring that this works. Yeah. And Mr. Adamu, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you finish on what you're saying? On what you were saying?
I was saying that the political discussion around the fate of Nnamdi Kanu should be one of the elements. It will probably provide the basis to address the other issues, but then it should never be seen as the single solution to addressing the security challenge in the Southeast.
All right. We must thank you so much for your time with us on the program this morning. It was quite a robust conversation, and I just hope that, the government, sees what is to be done and, respond to terrorism to get us of that index. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Adamu.
On the program.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right.